So I'm apologizing in advance. I've got both kids at home with me today. So if we get interrupted, we get interrupted. I want to talk about categories and how categories are broken up into groups that are a lot alike, like animals, foods, vehicles. And then, it's going to be hard to do because it's going to be backwards. It's like a hierarchy. So on the top will be the big category, food. And then there will be smaller categories that are broken into, like vegetables, fruits, fast foods, sweet foods, dairy, meats, all sorts of subcategories. And then from there, it might even be broken up into even smaller categories. So if we took, animals, we might have animals. And we might have zoo animals. And then we could say, mammals that live in the zoo, amphibians that live in the zoo, sea creatures that live in the zoo, because sometimes they have a big aquarium at the zoo, right? And then you could talk about farm animals, and we could talk about birds, mammals. I don't think there's really any lizards or anything at the zoo. The farm. So when you're working on comparing, saying how two things are alike, and contrasting, saying how two things are different, this is important to think about, because if they're both animals, then we can kind of figure out, based on these little branches, how they're different. So say we have a cow and a tiger. Okay, they're both types of animals. Oh, but one's a zoo animal, one's a farm animal. So when you're thinking about categories, I want you to think about this too, because this is how we want to compare two things. Or if we have cow and goat, you could say they're both animals, but we could also say they're both farm animals. So they're both types of farm animals. And then go to this part to see how they're different. And when you're comparing things, a good sentence to start with is they are both types of. Or if they're not like things that we use, or animals, you could say they're both things that we, I said that correctly. I'm distracted. Sorry. Or if they're like things we use, you could say we use them both for. So, because sometimes when my kiddos are working on categories, they say things like we both have, or we both use, or they both. We want to make sure we're wording it correctly. Stanley. Oh, and my dogs are here. Full house. So, when you're comparing and contrasting, even if you need to write down food, and then say, okay, a carrot is a vegetable and a pear is a fruit, how would that be broken up? So I'm going to send you a Jamboard with this video of how to break things apart a little bit. Okay?